أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة لأهل التقوى واليقين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين العبد المؤيد الرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد المحمود الأحمد أبي القاسم مصطفى محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أما بعد، قال المعصوم عليه الصلاة والسلام: كل شيء لك طاهر حتى تعلم أنه نجس. Dear brothers and sisters, we explained the rules of impurity and the impure objects. As I mentioned, there are 10 impure objects which are essentially impure and inherently impure. Any impure object which is essentially impure is called najisul ayn in Arabic as well as in Persian. Obviously, one of the najis objects, one of the ritually and essentially impure object is wine and alcoholic beverages. It is haram to drink wine, it's haram to drink alcohol, and it's also haram to sell these objects to someone else, irrespective of whether he is Muslim or non-Muslim. Selling alcohol and selling wine to anyone is forbidden, it is prohibited by Islamic Sharia. No matter what the purpose is and no matter what you want at the end of the day, you cannot sell and you cannot deliver alcohol to someone else, even if that person is a non-Muslim, even if that person, according to his religion, it is permissible for him to drink wine. But you as a Muslim cannot deal with wine. You cannot earn money through selling wine because wine is najis, alcohol is impure, intoxicating alcohol. The question is it permissible for a Muslim to go to a hotel where alcohol is served? Of course, you as a Muslim, you are not going to drink wine. You are not going to have wine on your tablecloth, on the table on which you are going to dine. But as a Muslim, are you allowed to go to a hotel where wine is served? Of course, it is permissible to go and eat food and in a restaurant in which wine is served. But you should understand that you cannot drink wine and you cannot have wine on your table. You cannot sit at a table on which wine is served. There is consensus among Shia scholars, among Shia jurisprudence, that a Muslim cannot sit at a table on which other people drink wine. You have a few non-Muslim friends who invite you to a hotel. You can go with them to the hotel, but you cannot sit with them. If they are going to drink wine, you cannot sit with them and eat with them on the same table or at the same table on which wine is served. Another impure object is semen. Of course, in the previous lecture, I did mention that semen is itself is essentially impure. If it comes out, then one has to get rid of it. And the semen of human beings and of animals whose blood gushes out forcefully is impure. It does not make any difference whether that animal is halal or haram, or whether if it is slaughtered according to Islamic law, it is halal, and of course, or if that animal is haram to eat. But the semen is essentially impure. Okay, we don't normally have anything to do with the semen of animals, but what remains a concern for us is the semen of human being. The semen of human being is najis. If a person ejaculates or masturbates, of course, masturbation is haram, but ejaculation is not, because ejaculation means that the semen comes out by itself. Sometimes it does come out by itself, and sometimes, of course, it comes out through masturbation. In either case, semen remains to be impure. And there is one thing that we need to know, that when semen comes and reaches a part of your body, only that part of the body should be washed. It is not necessary to wash the entire body. Of course, there's one thing that we will discuss, and that is the ritual bathing. Ghusl janaba. Ghusl janaba is obligatory. But if you are going to wash your body, and if semen comes from somewhere else, you are not supposed to wash your entire body. You need to wash only that part of your body which has come in contact with semen. And you are not going to change your clothes, your garment, if you are not sure that it has come in contact with semen. Some people naively and wrongly believe that if someone ejaculates as a result of having a wet dream, then he has to change all the bed sheet, he has to change all the clothes, he has to wash everything that has come in contact with his body. No, that is not correct. You need to change your perception and your understanding of religious laws. Sometimes, of course, you do need to change it. It's completely wrong to think that the whole body, the whole bed sheet, and the whole mattress and the whole clothes that you put on become najis when you ejaculate. No. Some people think that, okay, if someone else touches a person who is in the state of janaba, he also has to wash himself because that person is najis. No. Even if you have ejaculated, you can do many acts of worship. For example, you can recite the Holy Quran, you can carry the Holy Quran. You can enter a mosque from one door and get out from the other. And you can read the Quran except the 4 ayahs, according to some ulamas, and according to some other scholars, the 4 surahs are chapters in which the obligatory sajdas are there. But as far as the other parts and surahs of the Quran are concerned, you can recite it, you can read the whole Quran and accept those 4 surahs or those 4 ayahs according to the fatwas, because here the fatwas are different. Some scholars believe that you should not read the whole chapter, which consists of an obligatory sajda. But according to other scholars, according to other mujtahid, you should avoid only reciting only those verses which are the verses of sajda. Anyhow, having said that, there are some other questions that remain to be dealt with and that remain to be answered. If now one by one there are certain questions which I will mention and I will answer, and of course I'm very much certain that these are the questions which you or someone else like you might have in his mind, and of course he has to get these questions clarified. I would like to clarify and to throw light on these questions and the answers that will follow. If a person doubts whether a najis object, whether an impure object has become pure or not, what is he supposed to do? What is the Sharia law and the Sharia obligation in this regard? Of course, the answer is this, that a thing which was originally impure and one doubts whether it has become pure or not, then he has to consider it as impure. If he doubts that whether it has become pure or not, then he has to consider it as impure. And of course, if something was pure and now you entertain doubt whether that pure object has become impure or not, then you have to consider it as pure. You cannot actually guess or act according to your conjectures, considering it as impure. No. If something was originally impure, then you should consider it as impure. And if it was originally pure, then you have to consider it as pure. If there are two objects, you are certain that one of the objects is impure, and you do not know the other is of course pure, but you do not know which one is the pure and which one is the impure. In this case, are you allowed to use one of them? For example, there are 2 glasses of water, one is pure and the other is impure, but you don't know which one is pure and which one is impure. Can you drink one of them or not? In this case, you cannot drink both of them. The answer is this: you should avoid drinking both glasses or both glasses of water, or both of the containers should be treated as dirty, and you should avoid drinking the water from both the container or from both the glasses. What or where does the domino effect an impure item stop when it's no longer wet? Of course, we have to consider one issue in this regard, and that is, if something is wet and it is impure also, and it comes in contact with another pure object, that pure object becomes impure. And if the second object comes in contact with a third object, now the second impure object, which in Arabic terminology is called mutanajjis. Mutanajjis is something which is not essentially impure, but it has become impure as a result of coming in contact with an impure object. Okay. If the second mutanajjis comes in contact with something else, then the third mutanajjis or the third object can no longer be considered as impure, and so on and so forth. The nijasa or impurity transfers to the second object, but it does not transfer from the second to the third and the third to the fourth and from the fourth to the fifth object. It stops there at the second object. Dear brothers and sisters, another impure object is dog. We explained the rules related to dogs and to pig and such animals that are essentially impure. If a dog, because many people have dogs in their houses, as I mentioned in the previous lecture, there is no objection to keeping a dog in your house, but it should be kept outside your house. You should not take it inside your home, and you should not take it into your dining room, into your sitting room, and into the prayer room, especially because it is impure, and its hair, if it is found on your clothes, will affect your prayer. But if you keep it outside your home, especially in the courtyard, for security reasons, there is no problem. Now, some people keep dogs in their houses, and the dogs are usually they rub themselves against your body, and they sometimes lick your clothes, and so on and so forth. What happens, or what is the Islamic law if a dog licks your body or clothes? How should you purify yourself? The answer is this, that it is sufficient to wash your body once. However, if the water which you use is not running water, then it is necessary to rid yourself of the impurity by wringing the cloth. And the precaution is to wash that part of your body twice. Now, the rule is differing when it comes to utensils or to the dishes which you use for eating food. If there is a container, let's say a cooking pot, and it's licked by a dog, then the rules are different. You have to wash it once with running water, and then you have to use sand, rubbing it inside, or that the parts which those parts of the container that have come in contact with the saliva of the dog. And according to some scholars, you have to wash it 7 times to make sure that the cooking pot or the container has become pure. Now, as far as your body and clothes is concerned, it would be sufficient if you wash it with running water or with cool water once. But okay, if you want to rid yourself of the impurity with little water, just like water which is in a jar or in a cup of water, then you have to wash it. You have to wring your clothes, and you have to wash it twice as a measure of precaution. There is also another question in regard to the rules of impurity. Sometimes it does happen to you that you recite the Holy Quran, or you carry the Holy Quran, or you have a copy of the Holy Quran in your house, and it is made accidentally impure. Okay, some impure thing or liquid or something falls on the Quran and it becomes impure. What are you supposed to do? Of course, it is an obligation to make the Quran pure as soon as possible. You have to take an immediate action to make the Quran pure, to purify it. And you cannot wait for someone else to make it pure. It is your duty when you come to understand or learn that the Quran has been made impure, then you have to take an immediate action to make it clean. Because otherwise, if you wait, then of course it's considered on your part as a kind of violating the sanctity of the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran is the most sacred book, and it has to be revered, it has to be sanctified, and it has to be respected in whatever manner possible. If you have an impure object in your possession and you want to sell it to someone else, or you want to lend it to someone else, is it permissible to sell it in the first place? Is it permissible to sell it to a fellow Muslim brother or sister? Or it is not permissible? Of course. It is permissible to sell an impure object to someone if, of course, that thing can be made pure. For example, you have, let's say, a motorbike which is impure, which has been made impure by as a result of coming into contact with urine or something else. Maybe its seat is impure, or the other parts of the motorbike is impure. Now you can sell it or not. Of course you can sell it, because you can use water to purify it. And of course, you should inform the buyer. That a certain part of the motorbike or the object which you want to sell to him has been made impure. And if the borrowed object becomes najis and impure, the borrower must inform the owner. He has to tell him that the object which he has borrowed has become impure. Now, sometimes you go to a friend's house or to someone's house who has invited you, and there are other guests also who would eat the food that you are going to eat. Now you come to understand or learn that the food that the host is going to feed you, to give you or to serve you, is impure. It has been made impure. Is it necessary for you to inform the other guests that the food is impure? Or it's not necessary? It is none of your business to tell others that it is impure. Of course, it's not your duty and it's not your obligation to inform others that the food or the edibles on the tablecloth are impure. It is only your duty, it is only your obligation to refrain from eating it or from drinking the water which has been made, which is impure. But it's not your obligation to inform others. And obviously, if the host comes to know that the food which he is going to give to the guest has been made impure, it is his duty, it is his religious obligation to inform others that the food has been made impure, and that he should tell them to refrain from eating the food. So, if a fellow Muslim brother and sister eats and drinks something impure, it's not your duty to inform him. And if someone's clothes and dress is impure, and you know that his cloth is impure, are you supposed to tell him that his garment and the clothes that he wears is impure? Because he is going to wear the dress and offer his prayers. Now, are you supposed, is it your obligation to tell him that his clothes is dirty or impure? No. Again, it's not necessary to inform him. He can offer his prayers with the impure object, with the impure cloth, because as far as you do not know that your clothes are impure, you can offer your prayers. Did you know that if you even come to know after the time has expired that your clothes were impure, and you offered your prayers with the impure cloth, with the impure garment, it is not necessary to offer your prayers again. It's not necessary to repeat your prayers. Of course, if you come to know that your clothes are impure and it is the time to offer your prayers, you have offered your prayer, but still there is the time left. Now, in this case, you have to repeat the prayer because the time is still left. It's a Sharia law, a Sharia injunction, and it is a Sharia ruling that is, and so far as the time remains and it's the time has not expired, you should do something again. But if the time has passed and you learned that your cloth was impure, then in that case, the prayers that you have offered and the religious acts that you performed are in order, and it's not necessary to repeat the prayers and those religious acts again. Inshallah, I will further elaborate on some other rules and verdicts of Shia scholars, prominent Shia scholars. In the next session, I should tell you that whatever I mention in these lectures are not from me. I read the epistles of Islamic laws, the books authored by prominent Shia jurisprudence, those who are living and those who are known and those who are widely popular across the world and across the Shia community throughout the world. I just read and I just get myself acquainted with their verdicts and their edicts, and then I come and explain everything for you. There's nothing that I add or I extract or minus from myself. Inshallah, you will benefit from these lectures and you will pray for me. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.